What's up, guys? Tuning in back to the Everything is Poetry channel. We talk about poetry, we talk about life, we talk about what inspires us, we talk about what keeps us moving. Whether you write in a journal, or you like to do micro poems, or you write quotes each day, definitely I encourage you to continue doing it. Keep living your life full of expression in the best way that you can. I've been doing my best to write a quote a day. I've been doing that for the past year. I definitely have put probably over 100 quotes out. Check it out on my Instagram if you want. But I'm just trying to make myself accountable, right? I know sometimes it gets tough. You feel down. You feel like today I don't want to write. You feel a little bit like your mind is not there. You got all these things pulling you back and forth from different directions. But I definitely encourage you to at least write. I haven't been journaling much, I have to admit. I used to journal a lot, especially when I was teaching the creative writing workshops. I would have everybody journal. I would start with a free write, then we would talk about it, then we would journal for in between, write off of a prompt or a theme, and at the end we would share. Definitely going to be doing that stuff again, and I'm going to be doing shorts and different sections where all I do is we concentrate on writing some prompts. I want you guys to get ideas what to write about. But most of all, how to stay creative even when you feel you're not. I've been doing this for a little time now, about 10 years, maybe a little less than 10 years collectively. Started out with a group. We started touring the country. We went in and out of universities speaking, expressing, doing spoken word, slam poetry, different types of writing workshops. But now that I've been working on myself for the past 8 to 12 years, I've definitely decided to go back to writing. To write poems, to write hip-hop songs, to write. So this is me letting loose, letting out, kind of just throwing ideas with you guys on things that have worked for me. You know, when I'm down, I wake up in the morning, I write a quote, or I post a quote when I'm feeling down. At night, I try to do something healthy for my music. And, you know, a lot of people don't know what's the biggest thing that plays a role in this, and is food as well, you know, what you eat. I even wrote a poem about food on my Sankofa Traveling to the Sun poetry album. You guys could check it out. It's all over YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Sankofa Traveling to the Sun. I wrote a poem called Wordplay about burning my kitchen down while I was making and cooking with garlic, because I started writing the poem, and by the time I realized that the poem was done, and I realized that my food was cooked, overcooked, but I still ate it anyway. You know, sometimes you got to go with those inspirations. Those inspirations end up making a difference in the long term of your life. So, what I want to talk to you guys today is, how do we get out of the super pensive thoughts, the cobwebs in the mind when you want to do something and you're just drained? You're like, nothing is coming out, nothing is coming out. And I say, you got to start with a word. If you want to write about something, whatever that thing may be, if you start with one word, whether it's a word that you just want to make up on the spot, like if you're thinking of clouds or you think of the rain, but start with a word and begin to do descriptive categorizing off of that word. Connections. You do bubble connections, kind of like your neurons, right? Shooting information from neuron to neuron. That's what you're going to do on paper. So let's start for this example, cloud. So the prompt, the idea is cloud. I would put cloud in the center, and I'll end up posting something about this. You put cloud in the center, and then you begin to branch off of that center words that remind you of what cloud is, of what that word is in the center. So with me, I think of cloud, I think of rain, I think of white, I think of musty, murky. I have about 20 bubbles filled up, all in relationship to that word cloud. And then I would begin my poem. Now, you don't have to use all the bubbles. You can use all the bubbles. You can use a few of the bubbles. But the important part of this is that you use one of those words so you can get your paragraph going, whether it's a slam poem, whether it's a story, whether it's just you getting ideas for work, whatever it is. But right now, I want to concentrate on the creative aspect, the creative side of being yourself. So you have the word in the center. You have all those poems. You wrote 20 bubbles, right? Based off of that poem, off of that word, now you write your poem. My poem might start off like, when I stare at the clouds, I lose myself. The rain brings me closer to who I am, but sometimes even the rhythm of being murky pushes me far away. There's my couple of sentences based off of that word. Now, this is great for improv. When you learn to do this automatically on the spot, then you could improv almost anything. Check out some of the improv I got. I wrote a 20-minute improv poem. I wrote a 40-minute improv poem on the spot. I'm going to try to go for an hour next time, maybe an hour and 20. It does get exhausting when your mind is like, oh, I can't think of any more words. And that's where the creative adrenaline, the creative juices, the creative stamina, endurance kicks in. Even when you feel you're spent and you're able to create. That way, when you feel well and you're rested, you create on the spot. And it's you. Know that it is you creating. Nothing outside of you creates the way you do. It is you. So, back to the poem. Got that poem down, and you don't have to worry about editing. I think sometimes we get confused on the judgment. You know, we start judging our poems. Oh, this poem is not good enough. No, get every idea out, get all those thoughts out, then you organize it. That's the purpose of that prompt, using those bubbles and using those rectangles and using different ways to connect your descriptions of what you think of based off of that theme. Because once you have all that stuff, then you can write, and that's the biggest part, right? The brainstorming, the one is like, what do I write about today? You're overthinking if you're not writing about anything. If you don't got anything to say, if you don't have anything to write about, you're overthinking. And if that is the case, then start there. I'm overthinking. First part of that paragraph. I am overthinking. What am I overthinking about? I'm overthinking. My mind is blank. I got to do the laundry. Next thing you know, you just wrote yourself a poem all about overthinking. Put it in the title. What happens when I overthink? Go to open mic and boom, you got a poem. Now, I'm not saying it's going to always be easy. There's going to be times where you use that same example and you try to write about something and you're like, ooh, I just can't because my mind is taking me places that are too dark or too scary or too difficult to say. And that's where you gotta give yourself the space to know that not everything you write you have to share. That's another thing. You do not have to share everything you write. Some of the things you write are just meant for you to express, to let go, to release, to empty that cup into that paper. And then there's certain things that you might write about and you go, wow, I really enjoyed what I wrote about. I can't wait to share it. And that's where we want to be, in the place where we just can't wait to share what we got with somebody else. Because you do not know how that poem or what you wrote can save not only your life by helping you release what you got inside, but helping you connect with another person that may be going through the same thing. About 15 years ago, I wrote a poem called America. It was 6 minutes long. A spoken word, a slam poem. I did it at a open mic. And when I wrote it, like most things I wrote it because I felt I just wanted to write it. I felt like I needed to release. I felt like I just wanted to write whatever was coming through my mind. And I wrote it. At the end of the open mic, this dude came up and said, yo, man, thank you for that poem. That was incredible. I can't believe you wrote about so many things in one poem. I just want to tell you today, I was in a dark place. You made me feel better. I don't want to go that route no more. So the guy decided not to commit suicide because of what I was saying in that America poem. Now, to me, I just wrote the poem, but after hearing that, I was like, wow, my words actually carry more substance. Maybe I should write knowing that it's going to make an impact. 15 years later, I have put out about 5 to 7 poetry albums with about 15 to 20 singles in process. And I just want to keep creating, and I know it gets exhausting. So everybody who goes out there and goes, yo, I've been hitting the studio. I've put in 20 hours, 20 poems of work. That's where you have to learn to decipher and be able to be in retrospect, whether you want to keep pushing or you just take a nap and take the day off. I got to be honest. I have exhausted all my resources. I have 3 albums in the making that I'm gonna put out. 3 EPs, 1 full 14-track album that I'm gonna put out. So definitely stay checking on that on the YouTube, all that good stuff. If you want to know what the album's called, hit it in the comments. Let me know what you're writing about. Let me know some of the things you've been struggling with. Maybe I could give some assistance. Maybe I could give you some advice. I'm not doing one-on-ones yet, but I would love to do a one-on-one with someone to help them break themselves out of this funk that you may be in. I got a book in the process, 35 to 40 poems, with another book in behind my mind of things I have already written in slam poems that I think it's also a creative way to get your things out, right? Is set goals, set plans, go to your 5-year mark, drop it to a 1-year mark, drop it to a 6 months mark, and then just start going to that 6-month goal. And I know a lot of you guys may not want to hear this when it comes to being creative, but you have to learn to be like a horse, yo. You put those things on you put those blinders on, and you focus to what you got to get done. And once you are done, you take those blindfolds off, those blinders, and then you say, "Hey guys, I'm available. Let's go hang out. Let's go grab a meal. I want to be there for my family." You do all that good stuff. But if you have a goal, and I'm talking to the people who have felt like they just can't do anything. They feel like they've been beat up by life. They feel like they want to write, but just nothing's coming out. I've been in that state for a very long time. Trying to write, nothing's coming out. I go to write, and then all of a sudden I'm discouraged. Not by anybody around, my immediate family and friends. They've always been encouraging in me being who I am. But I know just it's like the story inside your mind of what you're capable and not capable of doing, right? The story in your mind that says, nah, you can't do it like this. It has to be like this. No, this is the only way it's going to work. You won't know how anything's going to work until you try it and you get an audience to kind of give you feedback. Now, I think you need to learn how to have a hard shell when it comes to audience. Some people are going to love your work. Some people are going to talk bad about it. That's just the way of nature of what happens when you speak your mind and when you tell your truth. So you got to learn how to develop a very hard shell to anybody, any comments, anybody that says anything about your work, because you have to realize that your work is so important for you that you are willing to push on even when you feel you yourself are not doing the right thing or not capable of, or when someone else tells you that. So I want to encourage you guys, write, get creative. I'm going to start giving you more ideas, prompts. Check out some of my videos and my freestyles. I think we want to jump to number 10, right? And I'll give you an example. I think my freestyle is like a 5. I want to get to number 10 with my freestyle. As soon as I spit, I'm like, yo, this joint is hot. And even though I may think it's amazing, somewhere deep inside, I'm like, it just isn't there. And that doesn't mean that I stop. I still freestyle the best that I can, even if it's at a 5. Because the more you do it, the better you get, the more you're around people who are at number 10, you will become a number 10. It's just what ends up happening. With enough practice, with enough encouragement, you will become a number 10. It's all a matter about pushing through that fatigue of writing, that fatigue of speaking, that fatigue of being yourself, because everything around you, your own environment could be telling you you're not going to succeed, you're not going to be capable of, and you have to prove that environment wrong. And then there's the other side. Everything around you, including your environment, is helping you. So what's holding you back? I think it's overthinking. I've been here way too long, and I still write because I know that if I just sit there and go, okay, everything I want to get done, and I spend over an hour doing it, then I'm spending a little bit way too much time trying to make something happen. Do it quick, get it going, push through. Now, poets. I'm speaking to the poets, the creatives, the one who asks themselves, do I need music for my poetry? And I say, well, spoken word was developed as the spoken word. The first thing, right, that individuals had was their voice and that drum. And luckily for me, I play the drum through my poetry, so I love playing the drum. But all you have is your voice and your body and what you channel through your heart and your brain. You have to learn to equip your brain to spit out the knowledge and information that you want to have the audience hear. So, we're in a space of non-judgmental. You cannot judge your poetry. Even if there's a part of you that says, this poetry is not good enough, it needs to be better, this will never get any views, no one's going to listen to me, nobody cares about my voice. I don't care what kind of voice you hear inside, you have to push through it. I think that's just a mechanism built inside of every human being to help them become greater. We were never meant to fall short of ourselves when we hear those things. I think we were meant to overcome them, so when we are in real scenarios, we're more equipped to handle them. So, gave you a prompt. Oh no, I haven't given you guys a prompt. Okay, so let's talk about some prompts. I want to talk about 3 prompts. Clouds, and we spoke about it before. I would like to keep this kind of climate based. Let's do cloud. Let's talk about the imagination. So let's use wizardry, right? If you were a wizard and you can change a cloud into anything that you want to, what would you change it into? That's the prompt. If you had any ability and you wanted to change a cloud into anything you wanted in the world, what would it be? Give yourself 20 to 30 minutes to write about that. And then you have your beginning of your slam poem, your beginning of your poem. And, you know, if you like the ideas, definitely comment on it. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I'm not done yet. I'm just appreciative. You know, like I said, I've been there. I've been in that moment where it's just tough to write. It's like you're trying to get things out and you feel like everything around you is pulling you. Everything around you is telling you you just can't do it. So what do I do when those things happen? I put on a beat. I put on an instrumental. I freestyle without thinking whether it's nice or whether it's not. And I just freestyle for the joy of freestyling. That is the art of rap. That is the art of poetry. To do it because you want to do it. Now, of course, sometimes we expect more from ourselves. So we try to push ourselves harder. But it doesn't mean that that's how it has to be all the time. And there is going to be a part of you that's going to push you harder because it wants you to become better. It wants you to improve. And I think that's great. But know that you are where you are and you have to acknowledge and you have to pay honor to where you are at. All the stuff that has happened to you in your life, your experiences, everything that has built you up to this moment has brought you to this moment for you to overcome it, not to fall short of it. Now, I'm not the type of person that says that, hey, sometimes we just go through certain things in life and that was what the universe meant for us to go through. I don't believe that to 100%. I believe that the universe does give us certain things for us to improve in, but there's certain things we go through life that we just did not have control over, right? Something that somebody does to us, the change of weather, so many things. But what you do have control over is what you decide to write on that paper, what you decide to talk about. That you have full control of. So I want to inspire you to stay creative. I want to inspire you to stay well, stay healthy, eat well, man. This is not just let's write. You know, I want to start a really cool, dope writing community here on YouTube. This is not just about let's write and it's all good. It's let's write and let's eat healthy. What kind of green juice can you juice today that will help you purify your blood so you can sustain your energy longer? You know, that's the road that I'm also heading. So look out for my journey as I change, as I improve and better myself. I also want the best for you guys. This is not just writing. Writing is not just one aspect of ourselves. Writing is a small part of who we are. Everything else encompasses what we end up writing about. So, I think I covered a lot of the things that I wanted to say. Some things, you know, kind of escape in my mind, but I do want to encourage you guys to eat well. All right? I've gone through some crazy stuff. I don't know if you guys would feel this way, you know. I've gone through some crazy stuff in the past 12 years. I've been in places that I do not wish not one person go. But I have made it out. I'm no longer in those spaces. And I'm writing. And I've been able to make content, material. I got a heck of a work of art. Like I said, 7 to 8 albums. full-length albums with some EPs and like 12, 15 singles. So I don't say that to boast, because I definitely am not where I want to be. But I say that to encourage you. Just because you have fallen short of the glory of the grace of God, or the glory of who you are as an individual, does not mean you will not get to the end point, and does not mean that you will not get anything incredible out there. Music, poetry, whether you're a rapper and you're just starting out, or whether you're an amazing rapper that wants to share your knowledge with some individuals who are not quite as good as you there. You know, I'm always open to learn, always open to develop, but also I just want to make it clear that quitting is not an option. Okay, quitting is not an option. Just because you can't write that poem, or because you feel like, you're exhausted your resources like I have. I have exhausted over 10 credit cards. Listen to me here. I'm not saying that this is what you should be doing. But what I am saying is that I have exhausted over 10 credit cards trying to do my art. And sometimes it be like that, right? You got to pay food, you got to pay gas, you got to pay your car note, you got to pay your mortgage. I don't have kids yet, but you might be out there and you have kids, so you got to make sure your kids are well taken care of. But listen to me, very important. If you do not make yourself the center of what you're doing, when you completely lose stamina, how are you going to hold all those other strings, right? You have 10 strings on each corner and you're holding them in, your mortgage, your friendships, all that. And if you're not well, when it comes down to it and you start feeling weak, you end up letting go of all those things. And we're trying to avoid those things. So health, having goals, having something that you want to become, an image of how you want to look. Maybe it's somebody that you want to talk to. Hey, let's make it happen. I want to develop a dope writing community here on YouTube, where it's not just about getting to the end of the destination. It's not just about going through the tunnel and getting to the other side to see the light. It's the process that happens when you actually go into the tunnel in the first place. And I believe we don't have to go into that tunnel by ourselves. Cars have 4 to 5 seats. That means that we can fill them up with 5 people. And if we have a whole lot of cars going through that tunnel, then we may just bring enough light in that middle of the tunnels that when we get to the end of the tunnel, we know what the whole process was about. So thank you very much for listening, guys. Hopefully that prompt helped you. And I'm hoping that a little bit of the advice that I gave can help some of you develop into better writers, but encourage you. It's all about encouragement, and encourage you to keep moving forward. So thank you. Muchas gracias. My name is Daniel Villegas. Check out some of my music if you are looking for some more inspiration. I've definitely have been learning to merge both my hip-hop influence and my spoken word with some of the literary poems I've been writing about. So it's all been meshing into creating kind of this new me of who I am. But definitely check out Jaguar, Time Travel. Those are other songs I got out there. You guys can check those out. I think you're going to enjoy them. Music, peace, poetry, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Muchas gracias.